Today, I'm going to talk to you about what you need to budget for when buying a home in Miami. And I'm going to get started right now. Hey everyone, my name is Jamey Prezzi. I'm a real estate agent in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. And today I'm going to talk to you about what you need to budget for when buying a home in Miami. But first, before I get started, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another update. We do put out new videos every week. Also, use the link in our information box and download our free guides today. If you would like to schedule a free chat with me, use the Calendly link in the information box. You can also reach me by text or email. All the information is in the information box. Okay, let's get started. I have a lot of savvy buyers who call me every single day. And they may have purchased 3 or 4 homes in the past, but when it comes to buying real estate, people always have questions because there's just always new things to know. It's a tedious and very long process. It's an expensive process. And very often people get a little bit intimidated. And there's just really a lot to know. And every area has their sort of specific ways in which a real estate transaction is managed. And so people always have a lot of questions. So I want to give you a little bit of information about what you need to think about in terms of budgeting for a home purchase in Miami. Okay, let's get started. One of the most important things that you need to think about, and often your budget and sort of the lifestyle that you're thinking about living here, will really determine the type of property that you want to purchase and then the monthly maintenance of maintaining that property. So the 3 different main types of properties would be a single family home, a condominium, or a townhome. When you're purchasing a single family home, you will actually be responsible for maintaining all of the utilities within that property. For instance, water, also the power, and any other expenses, cable, internet, all those expenses are the responsibility of the individual homeowner. Now, some of the HOA communities, and a lot of those you can find in Doral or out in Broward counties, some of those HOA communities, they will actually maintain your lawn care for you and some other services, and that will be included in the ongoing monthly HOA fee. So that's something to take into consideration if you want to be in an HOA or not. But it's just important to know that with a single family home, you'll be maintaining most of the systems within the property, also taxes, landscaping services, pool services, ongoing maintenance repairs, and of course, insurance. And insurance is one of the biggest expenses in owning a property in our area, especially a single family home. If you're purchasing a condominium, you'll want to understand what is included in the monthly maintenance fees. And typically, the bulk of utilities are included in a condominium monthly maintenance fee. Some buildings also include cable and internet services. And then generally speaking, the bulk of the cost of insurance is included in those monthly fees. You'll, of course, want to consult and find out with an insurance agent what's included and what's not. But very often here, the bulk of the cost of insurance is included in that monthly HOA fee. And then you'll want to carry what's called a walls in policy, where you insure the walls in. That's a long discussion, a discussion you should have with an insurance agent. But when you own a condominium, there are definitely different expenses included than owning a single family home. And then with a townhome, that can be a little bit of a combination of a single family home and a condominium. It really depends on how that townhome community is managed. And that is just a very detailed discussion for every specific townhome community and the type of property you want to buy. Some townhomes are just treated like a single family home residence. Some townhomes are a little mix of townhomes and condominiums. And then some townhome style properties are not really townhomes. They're just the style of a townhome, but they're actually condominiums. So there's just a lot to consider in terms of the type of property you want to purchase and then the monthly maintenance that goes along with it. And ultimately, like I always say, it typically will come down to your budget and then the type of property that you want to buy. Next, you'll want to budget for your down payment if you are getting financing. And there are different down payment requirements depending on if you're buying a single family home, a condominium, or a townhome. Also, there are different down payment requirements for the intended use of that property. For instance, Is it a primary residence? Is it a second home? Or is it an investment property? And depending on the type of property that you're buying and how you intend to use that property and some other factors that go into determining the down payment, you will definitely want to budget for the down payment. That is a very deep discussion that you need to have with a trusted professional for lending so that you are making sure that you are preparing properly. For instance, single family homes, sometimes you can put a little bit less money down. With condominiums, it really depends on the condominium and the condition of the building and your intended use of that property. And townhomes can be a little mix of both. So really just to understand your options, make sure that you partner with a trusted local lender so that they can give you the best guidance. Earnest money deposit. This is a deposit that will be placed against the contract. It's the deposit made from the buyer to the seller when submitting an offer. It's intended to show the seller that you're serious about purchasing their home. And upon closing, this money will generally be applied to your balance to close. In our area, the earnest money deposit, a customary amount, is between 5 to 10% of the purchase price. That's a bit more than in some other areas of the United States. I understand that, but those are the customary amounts that people place here when making offers on properties. Number 4, inspections. This is one of those parts of the process that I highly recommend that you are not cheap on. It's important to make sure that you spend good money on decent inspections, and it really depends on the type of property you're buying. If you're buying a single family home, that is a completely different inspection process than purchasing a condominium. With condominiums, you'll probably just do a general inspection, maybe mold if that's important to you, and that's pretty much it for condominium purchases, or what's customary in our area for condominium purchases. If you're purchasing a single family home, you may want to go a bit deeper than that. For instance, if there's a septic tank, I would recommend to get a septic tank inspection. If you have a pool, you'll also want to get a pool inspection. If for some reason there's something wrong with the pool, you may want to hire a separate pool company to come out and do a deeper pool inspection. There are people who actually dive into pools and look for leaks, and I could go on and on with that. But it just really depends on how deep. If you have a seawall inspection, and they also dive in and inspect the seawall. So there is just really a lot to know about purchasing a single family home in terms of the type of inspections that you may want to order. But this is one area that I would not be cheap on. I would highly recommend to do very detailed inspections when you can. Number 5, closing costs. This again really depends on the type of property that you're buying and also how you're paying for the property. But in our area, sort of the general rule of thumb is if you're paying cash, you can expect to pay around 1% of the purchase price for closing costs. If you're getting financing, around 3 to 5% of the purchase price goes into the closing costs. With financing, a lot of the closing cost expense can be the insurance, and it just depends on how the lender escrows that insurance and how they collect for that in advance, because typically they'll be escrowing some money in advance to hold for you to pay insurance and also taxes. So just something to keep in mind if you're paying cash or financing. So these are just some of the items that you need to budget for when you are thinking about buying a home in Miami. I hope you found this video helpful. You can find us online on Instagram at The Prezzis. Our website is theprezzis.com. We're always here to be a resource for you, and we will see you soon.